This is CW Iowa Live. I'm Lou. This is Jackie, and
Good
this
morning.
is our good friend Mike Jankins. He is here to talk bankruptcy, and the things that we learn when you come on here, Michael, are really amazing, especially when you consider somebody could save their house.
Yeah, we've talked many times, made reference to Chapter 13 bankruptcy can be used if you're in a foreclosure to save your home, but we've really not gotten into the details of it for quite a long time. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of really get into Chapter 13 and find out what actually you do in it when you save your house and when it's appropriate for some people, and maybe for others it's just not the right thing to do.
Now, are there different times of year when this is more, when it becomes more prominent? Is it the springtime, the summertime, or does it happen all year long?
The Chapter 13s happen as many different months as there's foreclosures on homes.
So it's not seasonal then?
Not at all.
Okay.
At least for purposes of trying to save a person's home.
Okay.
There's other reasons for doing the Chapter 13, but again, it's not seasonal.
All right, so what can people do?
Well, if you're in a Chapter 13 and you want to use it to save your home from a foreclosure, you can create your own payment program through the bankruptcy court. And so Wells Fargo or Bank of America doesn't have to say, yes, we want to do this. It's not up to them. If you can afford your home and make your payments, then you have a chance to be able to force them to take your payment plan. Now, there's conditions. The payment plan can't be like for the rest of your mortgage, so you don't get 25, 30, or 30 years to do it.
Oh, really? They trim it down a little bit?
Just a bit. I mean, you have a maximum period of 60 months to pay back all the missed payments that you've missed during the foreclosure process.
Ooh.
And
so that's what, 5 years?
5 years.
Okay.
And that's a pretty long time, actually. I mean, it's better than 6 months or a year. And so these are spread out over time. You also have to resume making your regular mortgage payments. So if we filed the case today on May 23rd, your first mortgage payment would resume on June 1. So the first payment that comes due after the time you file your case, that's when you start paying your mortgage again.
Got it.
Then you also have to begin making the payments on the missed payments on your mortgage. So this is just kind of lumped into one debt with the attorney fees that were incurred in the foreclosure by the mortgage company and all their miscellaneous foreclosure fees that they incurred. So if it's $10,000, it's just one debt all lumped together. 15, 20, it's getting pretty high, but we see those.
I can see this not being for everybody. If they're already struggling paying their mortgage payments, being able to catch up plus pay back payments, are people able to do this?
Well, sometimes there's reasons that they weren't able to. Somebody might have gotten sick and been out of work for a while. Somebody could have been released from their employment, and maybe it took them 6 months or a year to find another job.
Got it.
And so now they're making maybe at least equal pay or maybe more than they were before, but where they could afford everything, but they can't possibly catch up in one big payment to pay the mortgage company.
Now, are you paying the actual mortgage itself, or are you paying the interest as well that's on this mortgage?
Well, your mortgage includes the when you make a payment, that's including the interest and principal right in there.
It's not the loaned amount.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to make your regular mortgage payment, and then whatever you've missed, you just count the payments. If you had 1,000 payments or $1,000 a month of payment, and it was for 10 months, there's $10,000. That reimburses the mortgage company for the principal and interest represented in those payments, and the escrow that was collected most likely in those payments too. So that's paying that all back to the mortgage company. And these work. People are usually very motivated to want to save their homes, and so as long as you can afford to pay your regular mortgage payment, because we can't change the terms of the mortgage. This isn't a loan modification where we lower interest rates and add all these back amounts to the end of the loan.
Okay, that's what we were wondering. Okay.
Pick up paying again. And so if you can do that, then you can do this and save your home. Now, having said that, we're very careful when we talk to people about this situation, because people can't stand the thought sometimes of losing their home. I can't lose this place. I've been here 20 years. And so, sometimes these homes have been into people's family. It was my mom's house or whatever.
Right.
But sometimes we just have situations it's not appropriate and it's just time to walk away. People can be way upside down on their house when looking at the amount of debt versus what this house would really bring in a sale.
Right.
I mean, if we have a situation where the house might only be worth $100,000, but they owe $175,000 of debt against it, it's just not worth it. they're never going to be in a position to sell this house, at least for the next 15 years or so, until they can catch up and get that ratio back.
So in that case, would it be advisable just to walk away from it?
Well, I do tell people, I go, this just isn't worth saving, and I try to just explain to them, look, this is what the situation is. I don't think it's a good idea. If you can afford to make these payments, I'm willing to give you a Chapter 13 case to work on, and we'll do it. But sometimes people will listen, and they'll say, we really thought carefully about what you recommended, and we think it's the right idea. Sometimes these homes aren't in really good shape, and it's going to take thousands of dollars of fix-up costs if they keep it. And so besides the fact they're upside down. Other factors might be that besides this main mortgage that they're saving, well, there may have been a second mortgage with some company out there, with another Bank of America or Community Choice Credit Union or somebody that gave them a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit. Well, if there's another $25,000 or $30,000 sitting out there that they haven't been paying, and now they got to pay that too and catch up on that, it just may not be affordable while they're catching up all the other things. So we try to open up people's eyes to the whole financial picture with this piece of real estate, because sometimes it's just not a good investment. We sometimes ask, if you were coming to buy your house, would you pay this amount of money for it? And they go, oh, no. Well, that's what you're going to pay for it if you keep it.
Right.
And so that starts to sink in, and people then can afford themselves an opportunity maybe of buying a different house someday.
Yeah, how much will it affect somebody if they do see a situation like this? Say they, you have a house that's worth $100,000, but they owe $175,000, like you mentioned, on it, and they just said, you know what, you're right, I'm going to walk away. How much will that affect what they do in the future?
Well, they'll be through a foreclosure proceeding, and sometimes I see people that don't really have any other debt. I mean, we have folks that come in, and besides this mortgage problem, they may have a couple $1,000 of miscellaneous debt, nothing that would ever warrant going into a bankruptcy court, and so it's just this mortgage situation. And 2 or 3 years after that's gone by the wayside, if they've got their ducks in a row, they could buy another house.
Oh, really?
Sure.
It's not going to affect them for 7 years or 9 years or anything like that?
Not at all. And you know, some people make pretty good incomes, and the more money you make, there's more allowances made by the lenders. If you can bring down payment money to the table and make a really good income and not just a modest income, so it opens up a lot of doors. And there's no sense throwing your money into a black hole when you have opportunities out there to buy another home someday that might be way nicer, that probably is way nicer than the one you've got. And I mean, if you're going to pay $175,000 for a house, you want it to be a $175,000 house.
Right. It's nice to know there's options, but it's good to know what option is best for you.
Yeah, I like it. And again, and that option that could be best for you could simply mean walking away from that. And so
or possibly saving your house. If people want more details because they need to talk it over with you and find out what their best option is, where's the best place to go?
Well, just you can give me a call on the phone at 255-1855, or you can find me on the internet at www.iowa-bankruptcylaw.com.
There you go. Michael, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And again, we learn something every time that you're here. We appreciate that a lot. We'll be right back, folks. You are watching CW Iowa Live from West Des Moines. When we come back, totally serious news time, including something that happened involving police.